Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. Smackdown tonight was from the Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay, Florida. And Smackdown tonight was absolutely horrible. It was a terrible show tonight. Everything on this show tonight, except for the Seth Rollins and Edge segment, was awful. It's terrible. But before I get into the review, big news that came out after or during SmackDown tonight, and it is, sad news because NXT, in my opinion, is dead because WWE released 12 superstars from NXT tonight. But NXT, I love NXT. I don't review it. Never reviewed NXT. But I do watch the show. And let's be honest, NXT in 2015, 2016, the NXT brand was the hottest brand for WWE. Triple H was behind it. Triple H is there with Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom, and they all delivered a great show every single week. It was, like I said, the hottest brand that WWE has. And then you got Mauro Ranallo for commentary, and he was the best commentator for NXT. After he left, the commentary team wasn't the greatest. And, the show was at 1 hour on the WWE Network, which was perfect. It was great. And then when AEW was announced that it was going to debut, WWE had to do something. They had to put NXT on USA Network on Wednesday nights to counter AEW. So they went from being 1 hour on Wednesday nights on the WWE Network only to bring it to USA to counter AEW. And when NXT moved to USA at that point, almost 2 years ago, to counter AEW, that, in my opinion, was when NXT was dead there. And then, right here, what happened tonight? 12 superstars were released from NXT. If that doesn't signify that NXT is even more completely dead and it has the nail in the coffin for NXT, I don't know what to tell you. After seeing the releases tonight, NXT is dead. And here are the superstars that WWE released. They released Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish was just in a match Tuesday night on NXT where he faced Roderick Strong. And this is the guy who was a part of one of the greatest factions there. One of the greatest factions next to the Wyatt family and the Shield, the Undisputed Era. And they released Bobby Fish. The guy is talented, and yet they let him go. Here's a head scratcher. In my opinion, this superstar that got released tonight has me saying, what the fuck? And just making me scratch my head really? They released Bronson Reed. And I put Bronson Reed up there with the releases that I scratch my head with what WWE is doing. I put Bronson Reed up there with the releases of Bray Wyatt, of Aleister Black, Andrade. I'm like, why release Bronson Reed? I like Bronson Reed. The guy was talented in the ring. And they're probably like, oh yeah, we see no value in Bronson Reed. Oh yeah, let's release him. We see nothing in him. So there you go. Bronson Reed got released. Jake Atlas also gone. Guy was almost coming up on his 5 years down there. And they officially released. How fucked up is that? They released Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, which I was not a huge fan of Kona Reeves. Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff was released tonight. Leon Ruff had his final match tonight on 205 Live. So there you go. Leon Ruff got released. Steven Smith. Tyler Russ. Tyler Russ also was released. This guy is a part of the Diamond Mine. The Diamond Mine was just formed back in June. And already Tyler Russ is already released. So with the Diamond Mine, all you have is Roderick Strong, Hachiman, and Malcolm Bivens. That's it. The only two that you got there are Roderick Strong and Hachiman. That's it. And yet, he's gone. And yet Tyler Russ is gone. 2 months after the Diamond Mine officially got started, or was officially formed on NXT. The Diamond Mine officially debuted on the June 22nd edition of NXT. So he's gone. Zachariah Smith, Asher Hale, Giant Zengier, and last but not least, Mercedes Martinez, which I liked Mercedes Martinez. She was great in the ring. She's a great wrestler. And I would have sensed that if she got called up to the main roster, I sense WWE pushing her, giving her a big push because she is that talented. And, I liked her in-ring work. So that was the last of the releases. So there you go. 12 superstars from NXT released. If that doesn't tell you that NXT is dead, I don't know what to tell you. Vince McMahon has officially killed NXT, in my opinion. And just by all these 12 superstars that got released tonight, I sense the fact that fans will stop watching NXT. Fans are not going to watch NXT anymore because of these 12 superstars being released. And I can sense the NXT rating for NXT this Tuesday night. They officially go back live this Tuesday on USA. The past 2 weeks, they were on Sci-Fi. They were taped because of the Olympics. NXT goes back live on USA this Tuesday night. I could sense the fact that the rating for NXT this week are going to be very low because fans are not going to watch because of the news that broke out tonight. And I got some news also about NXT. And this is coming from WrestlingInc.com. If I could find the news, if I could find this news here, WWE is changing NXT. There's going to be changes to NXT. So there's going to be big changes to NXT. And reading this, like I said, off of WrestlingInc.com, but this news is also coming from PW Insider. Changes are being discussed with NXT. There's going to be a new NXT logo. Why? They just got a new logo already. There's going to be new lighting. I mean, how much darker can you make NXT? How much more darker and the look of the show are you going to make it? And there's going to be a different format to the show. And it will focus on younger talents. So what they're trying to say is, oh yeah, we're going to bring NXT back to how it originally was back in 2010, where they're just going to do these obstacles. Can you imagine seeing Johnny Gargano just running and jumping over obstacles? And these younger talents are going to have a pro I sense WWE is going to go back to that with NXT. That will be fucking awful. But yet, this is going to be Vince's vision of this NXT change. This is not going to be Triple H's vision. This is all Vince's vision of him changing NXT. And if I was Triple H, I would be fucking pissed if I was Triple H at what his father-in-law is doing. All the releases that we've seen right here, these 12 releases tonight, I pretty much tell you that was all Vince McMahon and Nick Khan. It just goes to show that Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, Nick Khan, John Laurinaitis, everybody involved with Vince needs to go. They all need to go. This is awful. And I bet you nobody is going to watch NXT anymore because of these new changes and by the fact that these 12 superstars tonight got released. NXT is dead. And it's sad. It is absolutely sad. And yet, do you all know that with these releases, this is just easy for Tony Khan to scoop some of these superstars and get them signed to AEW. It's like Vince is like, oh yeah, let's release these superstars and yeah, we'll give the competition these superstars. And then Tony Khan's like, oh yeah, how would you like to come work for us? How would you like to go to AEW? We'll give you freedom. You could do whatever you want with your characters. And there you go. We'll give you a freedom. That's how I see it. With all these releases, it makes it much more easier for Tony Khan to scoop up some of these superstars and get them signed to AEW. Some of them could go elsewhere. They could go to New Japan. They could go to Impact. And with this, I don't see Adam Cole re-signing with the company. Adam Cole's contract is almost coming up. There was a report that came out that Adam Cole was meeting with Vince McMahon before SmackDown to discuss, I guess, if they bring Adam Cole to the main roster, what he's going to expect. And Vince is probably said some bullshit to him, saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to make you a main event superstar. We're going to give you a WWE Championship sometime in the future." You know, all this bullshit that Vince was probably telling Adam Cole. And then, if Adam Cole does resign with the company, I would feel so bad for him. Because they won't probably make him as full potential if he goes either to Raw or SmackDown. And Adam Cole, he's probably not stupid. He probably watches both Raw and SmackDown and says, "Man, this is not great, both shows. Both shows are awful." Adam Cole's not stupid. And if I was Adam Cole, I would probably not re-sign with the company. I would go and not turn back. You know, I would sign with AEW and be with my friends, be with my girl, and could do whatever I want down in AEW. So, Adam Cole, I don't see Adam Cole re-signing with the company after the releases that we saw tonight. So, but that was the big news that came out tonight. Sad news also. I feel so bad for the superstars that got released. And hopefully they strive wherever they go, whether it be AEW, New Japan, Impact, or on the Indies. You know, I wish them all good luck. So, that was the other news tonight. NXT is officially dead, like I said. But let's jump right into the review of this awful SmackDown tonight. So SmackDown opened up with Sasha Banks Sasha Banks ended up coming out. She ended up turning heel last week at the end of SmackDown. Turned heel on Bianca, beating her down. So we saw, the video from last week where she turned heel and she ended up being down on Bianca, locking Bianca in the bank statement. So we got a video of that. So Sasha ended up getting on the mic. She ended up saying that she's back. And that means it's boss time on SmackDown. She ended up saying that she came back for the spotlight that she deserves. Banks ended up saying that the spotlight she created, and she promises that she will never let anyone steal the spotlight again. She ended up saying that she exposed Bianca last week, and that it was so easy to expose her. Sasha ended up saying that she's been watching Bianca make mistakes for weeks. She ended up saying that Bianca would be nothing without her, and that there would be no ESPY award, and no chilling with Megan Thee Stallion, and no WrestleMania main event. She wants to say that Bianca cried before their WrestleMania match because she was standing across from greatness. And she wanted to say that anyone else would have thanked her, but Bianca didn't thank her, and that she wasn't grateful at all. So Sasha ended up saying that she sat at home and thought about the disrespect each week. So she came back to the company for one thing, and that one thing was to make Bianca pay. And then Bianca ended up coming out. Bianca was swinging her hair, and she ended up speaking from the stage. Bianca ended up saying that Sasha won't be standing or talking when she comes and gets in the ring. So Bianca ended up dismissing the idea that she'd be nothing without Sasha, and reminds Sasha how she begged her to pick her after she won the Royal Rumble so she could headline WrestleMania. She wants to say that Sasha just doesn't want her to shine, but she's been shining and representing. So Bianca then ended up getting in the ring. Sasha ended up rolling out. Bianca ended up taunting Sasha and asked if she's going to take another 4 months off. So then Sasha stood up on the announce table. She ended up saying that she could do what she wants, when she wants. Because when you're a legend, and Bianca ended up saying that Sasha is one of the greatest to lace up a pair of boots. And if she wants the women's championship, it's on. And then out came Zelina Vega, the sellout. So Zelina Vega ended up saying that this is not happening right now. Zelina Vega then taunted Bianca and Sasha as she got into the ring. Bianca ended up saying that she will see Sasha at SummerSlam, and that she will face Zelina Vega tonight. So Bianca's music ended up hitting. Zelina Vega and Sasha ended up looking on, and it was confirmed that Zelina Vega will be taking on Bianca Belaire, and the SmackDown Women's Championship would be on the line tonight. And I'm like, what the fuck? What did Zelina Vega do to get a title match against Bianca Belaire? Nothing. She did absolutely nothing. This is typical WWE as usual, where they just want to hand a title match to someone where they don't have to compete for a shot. Awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, let's just reward Zelina Vega a title match. And she did absolutely nothing to earn a shot. So fucking awful. This segment was just meh, in my opinion. So then we saw Rey Mysterio and his son Dominik backstage. Dominik was preparing to face Jey Uso. Rey ended up going on about how they can't afford a loss as they tried to keep the momentum going into SummerSlam. And because Rey wants to bring the tag team titles back to the family. So Dominik ended up telling his father that he won't let him down and that he's confident that he can beat Jey Uso. So that was that. And then it was Jey Uso versus Dominik. How many times have we seen Jey and Dominik, go at it? Even if Ray and Jimmy were in it. Same shit. So we had both Jey and Dominik end up sizing each other up. They end up blocking up. Dominik was going to look to mount some offense on Jey Uso. He ended up hitting the arm drag from the top, but Jey ended up leveling Dominik with a forearm. Jey ended up dropping Dominik for a quick pin attempt. So Dominik later on started fighting back. Jey Uso ended up leveling him with a right hand. So Dominik ended up rolling out to the floor to take a breather. Jey ended up staying on Dominik as he went out to the floor. So Dominik later on ended up doing a sunset flip to send Jey crashing into the barricade. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, they played a video that happened during the commercial where Jimmy ended up landing a cheap shot at Dominik, allowing Jey to take control of the match. So Dominik was trying to fight back at Jey, but Jey ended up landing a pop-up neck breaker to Dominik. Went for the cover. Dominik kicked out at 2. Dominik then ended up blocking a Samoan drop, and he ended up dropping Jey with a neck breaker. So Dominik went for the cover. Jey ended up kicking out at 2. So Dominik ended up landing a springboard moonsault to Jey. It was back and forth between them. And Dominik ended up nailing the 619 to Jey. Dominik ended up going to the top. And Jimmy was looking to interfere. Ray ended up dropping Jimmy at ringside with a senton. Dominik ended up going for the splash, but he got distracted by Ray, his dad, and also Jimmy. Jey ended up taking advantage, ended up delivering a super kick to Dominik. Jey ended up going to the top, delivered a Uso splash on Dominik, went for the cover. There you go. Jey ended up winning the match. So that was that. Overall, same shit. Same shit that we see with Dominik and Jey, minus Ray and Jimmy. So then we saw Edge. Edge was walking backstage. Megan Morant ended up stopping him. Edge ended up telling Megan Morant about how Seth Rollins called him a rotten, selfish bastard. Edge ended up saying that when Rollins arrives tonight, he will show him what a rotten, selfish bastard he can be as well. So that was what Edge had to say. And then we had a championship contenders match. Apollo Crews versus Nakamura. Why do we need a championship contenders match? For Nakamura to secure a shot at the Intercontinental Championship? This is awful. Why are we doing this? So we saw Rick Boogs on the stage. He got a big pop from the crowd. He ends up playing his guitar, introduces Nakamura. Nakamura came out to a pop from the crowd. So then SmackDown went to commercial. And then when SmackDown came back, we had Apollo Crews end up making his way out along with Commander Aziz. We saw a video of what happened last week when Commander Aziz ended up attacking Rick Boogs and also Nakamura. So we had that, and it was announced that John Cena is announced for SmackDown next week. So the match got underway. Both Apollo Crews and Nakamura were going at it. Nakamura ended up taking Apollo Crews down. Crews ended up on the ropes, ended up ducking a kick. He ended up dropping Nakamura with a shoulder. Nakamura then ended up delivering a kick to Apollo Crews in the face. He ended up dropping a knee. Nakamura went for a cover, but Crews ended up kicking out at 2. Apollo Crews then nailed a clothesline, and he was mounting some offense on Nakamura. Nakamura later on ended up placing Apollo Crews on the top rope and delivered a high knee. And Nakamura then delivered a knee and a roundhouse kick while Apollo Crews was on his knees. Nakamura then went for the cover, and Commander Aziz ended up pulling him out of the ring, and the match ended in a disqualification because of that. Post-match, Nakamura was fighting off Apollo Crews in the ring, ended up sending him into Commander Aziz, knocking Commander Aziz off of the apron. Rick Boogs ended up playing his guitar at ringside as Nakamura ended up joining him. Apollo Crews was seated in the ring as Commander Aziz was there. So that was that. Nakamura ended up winning by disqualification by DQ. Overall, waste of time. This was a waste of time. And having this championship contenders match, having a championship contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship, awful. Why are they doing this? Makes no sense. So then we had Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton was waiting outside of Roman's locker room. Paul Heyman ended up coming out of Roman's locker room. He ended up asking Kayla Braxton what she wants. And Paul Heyman was like, What? To Kayla Braxton. And Kayla Braxton was like to Paul Heyman that she wants to see if Reigns has comments on what happened last week. So Paul Heyman ended up going on about how John Cena is getting into the match. And he ended up mentioning about how Tom Brady wants to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Paul Heyman ended up saying that the SummerSlam contract is a joke. And the claim of John Cena challenging Reigns at SummerSlam is meritless. So he ended up saying that the company is acting as the ultimate enabler by allowing John Cena to just slide his way into having a shot at the Universal Championship, which he doesn't deserve. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that the Tribal Chief has nothing to say about John Cena or has nothing to say to Kayla Braxton. Paul Heyman ended up saying that he's not in the mood. So Paul Heyman then turns around and he ran into Big E. Big E was there. He was smiling. He was holding up the briefcase. And Big E was just laughing like, Paul Heyman then ended up going back into Roman's locker room as Big E was just still laughing, like that. And that was how that ended. So that was that. So then we had Tamina versus Tegan Nox. This was a quick match. So we had Tamina end up in the ring. She ended up holding two of the the women's tag team titles. She ended up holding Natalya's title also, because Natalya is still at home recovering from the ankle injury. She had surgery on the ankle. So then out came Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. They were riding in Shotzi's tank, and shocked that they end up announcing Tegan Nox's full name instead of not just calling her Nox. So I'm glad that they announced her full name, Tegan Nox. So the match ended up starting. Both Tamina and Tegan ended up going at it. Tegan was mounting some offense, but Tamina ended up leveling her. Tamina then manhandled Tegan and launched her into the corner. Tamina ended up doing the hip attack, but Tegan ended up moving over, knocked Tamina in the corner. Tegan was stomping away at Tamina. Tegan ended up nailing some cannonballs to Tamina, 2 cannonballs to Tamina. Went for the cover, which Tamina ended up kicking out at 2. And Shotzi ended up firing one of the Nerf projectiles into the ring, which allowed Tegan to capitalize. And Tegan ended up rolling Tamina up. So Tegan Nox ended up winning the match. So overall, quick match. Nothing special happened here in the match. So now we saw Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville backstage. And Zelina Vega was there. Zelina Vega ended up saying that she just wants to know when she gets her shot at the SmackDown Women's Championship. But they end up saying that just because Bianca accepted her challenge earlier doesn't mean Zelina Vega gets a title shot tonight. So Sonya Deville ended up saying that Bianca doesn't make title matches around here. She does. So Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce ended up telling Zelina Vega that she just got back to SmackDown. But if she does well tonight, she can challenge the winner of the Sasha versus Bianca match at SummerSlam. So Zelina Vega was confident about that. So that was that. So it was announced that it's going to be Zelina Vega versus Bianca Belaire, and it will be a championship contenders match. And not, of course, a title match tonight. So it was a championship contenders match. Another one. So then we had Edge end up coming out. Edge headed to the ring, and then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Edge was in the ring. He got on the mic. He thanked Tampa for the pop that he got, because the Tampa fans ended up giving Edge a huge pop. Edge ended up saying that Seth Rollins is nowhere near here tonight. And that's good for him, because with what he plans on doing to Seth Rollins, Edge ended up saying what he plans on doing to Seth Rollins, he would end up in jail. Edge ended up saying that he was willing to let the past be the past until Seth Rollins ended up costing him the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank. So Edge ended up mentioning how it's like looking in a mirror of the past when he looks at Seth Rollins. He wants to say that he knows Rollins and he sees that this won't end well for one of them. But it has to end. And if Rollins was here tonight, it would end. So then Seth Rollins ended up appearing on screen. He was via satellite. And of course, we have him laughing, of course. Rollins ended up knocking Edge. He ended up saying that Edge is right when he says that they are a lot alike. Rollins ended up saying that they're drawn together in this inevitable dance. And he ended up saying, but that's where the similarities end. Because if the ultimate opportunist was half the man the architect is, he know you always have to have a plan B. So of course Rollins laughing more like that. Edge ended up saying that he has a plan B. How about we wrestle for the first time at SummerSlam? So Rollins ended up telling Edge to cool his jets. Rollins went on about how he has Edge wrapped around his finger and says he calls the shots, not him. Rollins ended up saying that he will think about the SummerSlam match because he has a lot going on. He ended up saying while he's thinking it over, maybe Edge should also think it over about what he's getting himself into. So Rollins was taunting Edge about his neck, ended up saying that his comeback will probably be over after this. Rollins went on to say that he isn't sure what kind of future Edge will have as a father and husband. So Edge then yelled at Rollins. He told Rollins to shut up and that he's not happy with his family being bought up. So Edge ended up saying about how Rollins is infatuated with him, but it never works out in his favor, in Rollins' favor. So Edge ended up saying that at the end of the day, Rollins is just him light, Edge light. And that pisses off Seth Rollins. Rollins was like, oh, I'm not light like you. I'm not Edge light. Rollins ended up saying that he's better than him. He's better than Edge in every way. And that Edge knows it. Rollins ended up saying that Edge is on for SummerSlam. So there you go. Seth Rollins versus Edge going to be taking place at SummerSlam. So that was how the segment ended. But this was the only good thing on SmackDown tonight. This was the only good segment here. Really enjoyed this segment. And, it was enjoyable. So then we saw Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton was backstage with Finn Balor. So Balor ended up interrupting Kayla Braxton. Balor ended up telling Kayla Braxton that he's not in a good mood. He kept saying that he was this close to signing the SummerSlam contract with Roman Reigns last week when Baron Corbin stuck his nose where it didn't belong. Balor wanted to say that Corbin should only worry about minding his own business and staying out of his. He wanted to say that if Corbin wants to get back on his feet, he needs to learn to have honor and integrity, which he will teach Corbin about the hard way. Balor ended up saying that when he's done with that, he has a bone to pick with John Cena for the contract signing last week. So that was that. So we saw Balor versus Baron Corbin later on in the night. Then we saw the Street Profits versus Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Quick match. So it was back and forth. And we had Ford end up going up to the top, delivered a frog splash on Dolph Ziggler. There you go. The Street Profits end up winning the match. Overall, very quick match. And then we saw Bianca Belaire versus Zelina Vega championship contenders match. This was boring. This was absolutely boring. So we had the match end up starting. Bianca Belaire ended up dropping Zelina Vega first. Started tossing Zelina Vega around the ring. Vega ended up turning around. Ended up covering Bianca Belaire for a 2 count. Vega ended up mounting Bianca with some strikes. Bianca then turned it around. Mounted on Zelina Vega with some punches. It was back and forth between them. Zelina Vega ended up getting sent out to the floor. Bianca then ended up attacking as Zelina Vega ended up coming back into the ring. Bianca then scooped up Zelina Vega for a slam, but Zelina Vega ended up scrambling to the apron and got knocked off out to the floor. So Bianca and Zelina Vega were going at it on the floor. Bianca then ended up pressing Zelina Vega high in the air. And out came Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks was dancing around on the stage. She was taunting Bianca. Zelina Vega ended up taking advantage of the distraction. She ended up dropping Bianca Belaire ringside. So Zelina Vega ended up bringing Bianca back into the ring, went for the cover, which Bianca ended up kicking out at 2. So SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, Bianca Belaire ended up countering Zelina Vega, ended up leveling Zelina Vega with a clothesline. Vega then ended up blocking the sidewalk slam, took Bianca down by her arm. And at the end of the match, Bianca ended up tossing Zelina Vega back into the ring, ended up hitting the KOD, the Kiss of Death, on Zelina Vega. Went for the cover. There you go. Bianca Belaire ended up winning the match. Overall, boring match. Absolutely boring. So then we saw Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was sitting in his locker room, and Paul Heyman ended up approaching him. He ended up telling Reigns that Finn Balor is in action next against Baron Corbin. So Reigns was like, I'm interested. And so then Finn Balor ended up making his way out. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we had Baron Corbin end up coming out. Of course, Baron Corbin came out to a crowd full of boos. And he had no music. He came out to no music. He was wearing the same white shirt from previous weeks, and this time had like a yellow stain on the shirt, looked like a cheese stain. So the match ended up starting. Corbin ended up getting on the mic. He was pleading from the corner. He ended up saying that he knows what happened last week wasn't cool, and that he's desperate. So Corbin ended up wanting help, and he ended up apologizing to Balor. So Balor was like, apology not accepted. So Balor then ended up attacking Corbin, started unloading on him, beating him around the ring. Corbin then ended up slamming Balor into the turnbuckles. Corbin ended up rocking Balor on the apron, sending him headfirst into the ring post. So Corbin was working on Balor in the ring, putting him on his knees. Corbin was delivering some shots in the corner to Balor. Balor then ended up doing a double leg takedown to Corbin, started unloading some more strikes on Corbin. And at the end of the match, Balor ended up hitting the coup de grace on Corbin, went for the cover, and there you go. Balor ended up winning the match. Overall, boring match. Post-match, Corbin ended up rolling out to the floor. Balor ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying 3 years ago he would have smiled and took what happened last week. But he ended up saying this Finn isn't smiling. Good. Good. Glad we don't have to see smiley Finn anymore. This is a much more aggressive Finn Balor. Balor ended up saying that he wants to face Roman for the Universal Championship, and that if he has to face John Cena to do it, that's what he's willing to do. Balor ended up saying to Roman to name the place and the time. And then out came Roman with Paul Heyman. Of course, Reigns made his way out on the entrance. He ended up stopping. He raised the Universal Championship. Pyro went off. Of course, as usual, typical Roman coming out. Balor ended up watching from the ring. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Roman was staring at Finn Balor. Paul Heyman then ended up handing Roman a mic, and he holded the Universal Championship. There was fans chanting for John Cena, and Reigns ended up saying Paul Heyman had already addressed his position on last week's contract signing. Reigns went on to say that he can understand why Balor is upset and why Balor is out here running his mouth about John Cena. But he must understand that he tried to help him. Reigns ended up trying to help Balor and give him an opportunity. Reigns then told Balor that when he comes out to his ring on the show, Reigns ended up telling Balor to keep his name out of his mouth. So Reigns then tossed the mic. He ended up turning to exit the ring. And Balor ended up coming from behind, shoved Roman out of the ring. Reigns ended up landing on his feet at ringside. He turned around to Balor, pointing his fingers, the finger guns at Roman. Just Balor, just doing that. So he had John Cena chants from the fans. Reigns then ended up approaching the ring. Balor ended up inviting Reigns back in to the ring for a fight. And then the Usos end up attacking Balor from behind. Jimmy and Jey end up double teaming on Balor. Reigns was watching from the apron. Jimmy and Jey end up delivering a Samoan drop to Balor. It was an assisted Samoan drop to Balor. Reigns ended up dropping down off the apron. Reigns then marched up the ramp as both the Usos trying to double team on Balor. They continued to double team on him. So Balor ended up dodging the Uso splash, and I think Jimmy ended up landing on Jey. So when Balor ended up moving out of the way, so Balor ended up fighting Jimmy and Jey off as Reigns and Paul Heyman ended up watching from the stage. So Balor ended up nailing a dive on both Jimmy and Jey. Balor ended up returning into the ring, did his finger guns at Roman. Roman ended up taking off his coat, ended up rushing to the ring. Balor ended up attacking as Roman entered the ring. Balor then delivers the sling blade to Roman. Balor was waiting for Roman to get back up, and the Usos end up attacking Balor again. Reigns then delivered a Superman punch to Balor, and it was followed up by Jey delivering a Uso splash on Balor. Reigns then ended up mounting Balor with some right hands, and Reigns then applied the guillotine on Balor as Balor ended up starting to fade. Reigns then ended up tossing Balor to the mat and just stood tall in the ring with the Universal Championship as SmackDown went off the air. Overall, this was okay segment here, but SmackDown as a whole, like I said, awful show, absolutely terrible. But anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until next video, I'll see you all later.